Cantona. Gary Neville looking for his first goal for Manchester United, and what a time to get it!
From the world's most expensive defender to the one that's most debated, players in modern football, this one is the evolution of Harry Maguire, written off, criticised, questioned, but still here, still fighting, still adapting. This isn't just a story. How are we, boys? We've got Harry Maguire signed another year, and he's got another year extension on that, if I read it correctly, which I'm pretty happy about, and it's well-deserved for him. So how are we, Yoni? How are we, Tom? And special guest back, Alex. How are we, buddy?
Good, thank you. I'm pleased with the news regarding Harry. I'm sure Yoni is as well. So, yeah, looking forward to singing his praises, which I've always done this whole time, always backing him.
yeah.
I
my favorite signing since Sir Alex left. Yeah. No, but I am happy. I am happy. I think it's needed actually, just based on the injuries we always get in centre backs. I think it's important to keep somebody who is a leader, and I've had a lot of disagreements with Harry and the way he conducts himself off the pitch sometimes, or at least years ago. But I think the last couple of years he's definitely earned it.
Yeah, definitely. Look, he's for a guy that cops so much stick on and off the pitch. It's just crazy. Oh, actually,
you should see the evolution of my Instagram messages to him and how they've changed over time. Just so you know,
we should have got some screenshots up.
Yeah. They've gone from a lot of dumb stuff to me being wrong and admitting it and saying, he's represented us well and all that kind of stuff.
How are you, Tom? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm very well. Counting the days until United return, and in regards to obviously the trending topic, which is Harry Maguire, and Yoni said there in regards to it's probably needed news in regards to Manchester on the field, of course, but I also think needed in regards to the club showing and rewarding what needs to be rewarded.
Yeah.
We'll get into performances, we'll get into sort of Harry Maguire's leadership and the price tag and his future and all these things. But and how to, which I'm sure will come up in the discussion, but how to carry yourself as a Manchester United player. Look at the adversity he has come through over the last couple of years. That type of behaviour or that type of action he's displayed needs to be rewarded. Now, it wouldn't have been really selling Harry Maguire at the end of the season if he was to leave, but I do think it is a good sign that, okay, if you do the right thing by the club, you will be rewarded. So, really happy with the news. I think it is good that it's just a 1 year extension. It's not like a real sort of bumper contract sort of thing. I am happy with that. But most importantly, Manchester United are almost back. And against Leeds, which Harry Maguire definitely did have a good goal at Ellen Road. This one's back at Old Trafford. But, counting the days, which is good.
Alex, you were saying?
No, I was just going to say, I remember cursing him when United came to Melbourne for their preseason. I remember pretty much single-handedly blaming him for ruining the club and Ronaldo not turning up to that tour and breaking my heart. So I was all in that camp. And I think just to echo what Tom said, I think Maguire's shown like the leadership required for a United player because, he's had some moments where he maybe pointed the finger at others with some maybe questionable interviews. But I think as well, especially over the last couple of years, I mean, look, we can talk about the adversity. I'm definitely guilty of, maligning him a lot. I think at one point that season, the one with Ronaldo and all the chaos and everything, that point Maguire was, I think, statistically the most mocked footballer on Twitter. Like even more than Ronaldo, more than Messi. Like the numbers were just off the charts with how much he was copping it. And I suppose as well in an era where we've had players like recently Garnacho, Sancho, Pogba, a bunch of different players who've, thrown their toys at the pram, not gotten their way, kicked up fastest, et cetera, et cetera. Maguire just said, all right, I'm copping this much slack. Head down, bum up, and just get to work. And I have to respect it because he had every right to leave. We tried to sell him to West Ham, and he's just come back and said, nope, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to retain my place. Has really been played really well. You got to back it up on the pitch, and he's played really well over the last year and a half. And I think it's a good example. We've got obviously some young players coming through, some other new players to the club, and I think he can just set an example that if you're just going to not kick up a fuss and be a prima donna and just, show some respect for the club, as Tom was saying, That's the kind of culture we want. We want players who are going to, not to sound like Roy Keane, but have personality. So I think, having him around for another year, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it definitely was. That Tom and I were fortunate enough that year that he did cop so much stick, and we still remember in Melbourne, like he copping the booze, and certainly wasn't where we were sitting, copping the booze. But Tom and I were fortunate enough that year we got to meet Harry personally and got to really know what type of guy he really is, and we were lucky enough to be able to ask him questions. And one of the guys from the Brisbane Supporters Club, put a really heartfelt question out to him, and it was answered professionally. And I think Tom actually got to have a chat with him in the hallway or something like that. And mate, from that day, honest to God, man, football didn't matter to me the day I met him, and the way he played and everything like that. It was just such an honor to actually meet. At the time, he was the captain, and how often do you meet the captain of Manchester United? And it was probably a blessing that we got to meet him, Tom, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's definitely an experience that definitely sort of will live with us forever. And look, I'm not going to throw Yoni or Alex under the bus. I'm not sure of their specific actions in and around that Melbourne game and Melbourne trip, but that was a stain on our club in terms of what happened, in terms of the Manchester United fans booing Harry Maguire on tour. And there's no hiding from the fact he was poor at times, 100%. However, everyone knows my thoughts on a certain YouTube channel, an individual who is so influential, and he led a targeted campaign against Harry Maguire, against him, and it turned a huge section of the fan base against him, and we end up seeing that a couple of months later in Melbourne, and so much of it was just so misguided and incorrect. Like, they were using screenshots were going viral on Harry Maguire. About, look at this mistake. Where if you understand football and you watch the whole clip, it was nothing to do with Harry Maguire. But screenshots were going viral in terms of Manchester United fans were spreading this, and so many of the Harry Maguire mistakes were nothing to do with him. It was someone else. Now, there was no doubt Harry Maguire wasn't performing up to standard. Of course, you can't hide from that. But the targeted campaign sections of the fan base had against him was disgusting. And I hate using that word in football. It's a bit of a buzzword in regards to when we talk about fan behaviour. But I do think that, and I think it was the night after, Adam, we had that event with him in Melbourne.
Yeah. And
I remember that question from Brisbane. And I do remember it as a question, but it was almost just a statement saying, we apologise on behalf of everyone in the crowd. Every Manchester United fan wants to see better from you. We need to see better from you. It hasn't been good enough. However, you do have the support and appreciation of everyone in this room. And look, it's a never-ending debate, and it's a valid debate, both sides of this discussion. Should he be here? Shouldn't he be here? Was he worth the money? Was he not worth the money? But in regards to what he has shown and coming through those challenges, he has been great. And it was an experience on which I echo your thoughts in regards to something that definitely sort of will sit with us. I remember sitting at the back of the room, just sort of back away from everyone, and just almost staring at the front of the room saying, that's the Man United captain. What are we doing here? Sort of thing. And
yeah,
long may it continue for this year. Look, he will leave Manchester United with 2 trophies, an FA Cup and a League Cup. And ultimately, through the course of time, he needs a little bit more. I don't think we're going to win the Premier League next season, but it's on the cards in regards to an ambition and a hope. And if you're going to pick out an individual besides Bruno Fernandes who deserves to leave Manchester United on a high when they do depart, I wouldn't look any further than Harry Maguire.
Definitely.
I actually think two things that were really good in regards to, I guess, Harry's story and like how things have improved over time. First one, I really think Ten Hag taking the captaincy off him when he did was very beneficial because it just took away the extra pressure, the target that he had on his back from the fans and everything like that. And it just moved it away so Harry can focus on himself and his game and all that kind of stuff. And I think, we tried also since then to play to his strengths when he plays, which is really good. Prior to that, we probably weren't doing that as much as we could have. And then I guess in regards to, Tom, you mentioned, was he worth the money? Wasn't he worth the money? I'd say that just his goal against Lyon was worth the money. Like that got us to the final. The final, yes, we didn't win it, but if we did, no one would ever have said that he isn't worth the money because we would have won a cup based on that goal. So, yeah, I think he's definitely long term now. He has been worth the money. So.
And a goal we often
Definitely.
forget about, I only popped up on my timeline today because of the contract extension. Sadly, it was forgotten about. I'll try and remember it as much as possible. But he scored the winner at Anfield this season. How long have we been begging for a win at Liverpool?
Oh, yeah.
And we sort of forgot about that because of the Ruben Amorim reign, and we tried, it was sort of so-called dark days. But he has popped up over the years. You're right, Leon was obviously the pinnacle, in my opinion, in regards to a specific moment. But he's got his fair share of big moments in a Manchester United shirt. So, yeah.
I had a big issue with him initially early on because he would miss a lot of headers. But I actually think the last couple of years, like it's
gone better at it.
So
do you think about how many, like when he first came to United, how many near misses he had?
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, when that Mykonos stuff happened in Greece and everything like that, and that tore him up, that kind of stuff. And it's still, I think he's still going through that court case now.
Yeah. There's a recent
to be able to. Sorry.
So there was like a recent ruling regarding it as well, or something. So
yeah, that's right.
It's been like 5-6 years.
Yeah. So like to block that out, because once that happened, like he just couldn't forget it at all, and you could see it was in his game. But then he had the transition from Ollie, where he played a lot deeper for him, and then all of a sudden Eric Ten Hag wanted to play a bit of a high line, and then he kept getting caught out on that high line, and it just decision-making was so poor. And mate, on my podcast, I used to say to him, mate, I can't believe this bloke's got that far in his career when he doesn't know he's from his left from his right foot. Because I remember, and he was also playing on the wrong side as well under Eric Ten Hag. He'd always play on the left-hand side. He'd always get caught out on that left-hand side every time. You'd get hammered that one-on-one instead of being able to play that little bit deeper and then play a long ball. And then like Yoni said, and then under Eric Ten Hag, he benched him a bit too, didn't he?
He did. And then when he brought him back, he kind of started playing differently because Ten Hag, the first couple of seasons, we were always open in the midfield. And then that left him like having to track back because we would come from the sides and pass through and all that kind of stuff. And so it was not helping him. And then at some point, I think that third season, we did try to lock it up. But then obviously we were doing bad with everything else. So.
Yeah, as I was like reading through him today, and like I went back in a fair way for him. I don't know if you blokes know, he's actually scored 17 goals for United, so which is not bad for a centre half, you know. And like Tom was saying, the importance. I think it's now 6. I think I read 6 or 7 goals in the last 5 minutes or 6 minutes of games for draws as well. I think it was a draw against Norwich and stuff like that. Like they're big moments. Like, I'm not sitting here when Harry Maguire scores in the last minute and I'm just sitting here going, oh, yeah, we scored. Mate, I'm celebrating hard. And I'm remembering that goal. Those last-minute winners, like when MUTV does the last-minute winner package, he's going to have 6 or 7 highlights in there.
Yeah, the Leo moment, I don't think I've ever squealed. I've visibly squealed. Like, my voice went so high-pitched just because, obviously, the emotion of the game and then, like... And I think that moment was like when, at least for me and probably for a lot of other people, that realization that, you know what, he's done the biggest, his whole career has done like a remontada. That moment was like, oh my God, he's actually saved his career. What is going on? And yeah, I can't help but be happy for him. It's just a good life story.
Just on that, Alex, it puts our sort of opinions and our feelings when we're watching a game always into perspective in regards to the demands we put on these players. Okay, they need to do this. Okay, they need to win a Premier League. They need to win a Champions League to be a Manchester United great. They need to score this many goals. Where really you go back and look at someone like Harry Maguire's career or his time at United and maybe doesn't have those in regards to Premier Leagues or Champions Leagues. But here we are praising certain things about him. Like Manchester United isn't just about, obviously we do want to win the Premier League and Champions League, but it's not just about winning those. If you can give us something else here or there, that's what makes a Manchester United player. And I'm not going to say Harry Maguire's a Manchester United great, but there are these little things in regards to off the pitch, coming back from the treatment he had in the he was, as you mentioned, Cristiano Ronaldo always wins those stats for the most sort of abused or criticised footballer in the world. It was Harry Maguire. I know Ronaldo just by the sheer volume, but it wasn't really. I assume a lot of Ronaldo's numbers were just sort of bots, just sort of automated accounts. Harry Maguire, that was direct. That was people taking the piss out of him. And I just think to come back from that showed something that Manchester United fans can be proud of. And look, it is great. And I think we will get into discussions in and around the future of Harry Maguire next year. Is he going to be playing? Is we going to bring in a defender? Is he first choice? And they're valid discussions. If someone wants to sit there and say Harry Maguire is fourth choice centre back next year, I'll listen to it. I don't think there's any sort of harm in sort of that opinion. But yeah, for what it is now, I think, and I'm glad in terms of the way the fan base has sort of been relatively unanimous with it in regards to the feel good factor around it. That is good because, as I said, if Harry Maguire signed this contract 3 years ago, it would have been all-out war amongst the fan base. So, yeah, a good day. A good day.
I was actually thinking about like players over the years that I've watched that have actually had big controversy in their career. So, I was the first one that came to mind was David Beckham after England, which is pretty huge. Eric Cantona, the fly kick, and then I'm trying to think of somebody in between that. There was, I don't think it everyone talks about Carlos Tevez, I suppose, but
look at Ronaldo post World Cup with Rooney.
Yeah,
Ronaldo
post World Cup.
Ryan Giggs is Ryan Giggs.
But that was after he retired, right? With Giggs.
No, it was like a couple of years before.
Yeah, 2010, but I wouldn't say that was a. That
yeah,
was
Giggs never caught much though. That was mainly media. I'm talking about through fans and stuff like that.
Fans,
through fans. Like
I'm trying to
think. Like in the 80s, like
probably copped a lot, but he's not in our club anymore.
Who
plays for France right now? But that's no.
Him actually. To be fair,
yeah, Pogba's probably one as well.
Pogba for sure.
Yeah, Pogba,
I do think one who I often relate, and maybe it was to a different scale, but I do think the narrative was quite similar. But Scott McTominay, he was copping. Look, Harry Maguire, I always backed, and Scott McTominay, I always backed. So maybe I'm sitting here sort of in my high chair feeling a bit vindicated, but I do look at those two and the arcs and sort of their careers or time United went through. And it just makes you feel good when they come out the other side because you've seen so many. As you rattle off the names who come in, get a little bit of criticism and just fold.
But I think that McTominay and Fred situation was a bit different because it was, to me at least, it was less about McSauce and Fred. It was more about the way we were playing with the two of them as defensive mids when they're not really defensive mids. And that was the issue that I think a lot of people had at the time. Like, everyone knew, or at least I'd like to believe that everyone knew that McTominay is a good player. It's just that he's not playing in his right position. Fred, maybe some people didn't like him and all that kind of stuff. I liked Fred, generally speaking, but I hated the two of them together. And I'm sure you can find many complaints that I've had about playing the two of them together as the Sixers. So
yeah,
I think it was more anger at the system as opposed to anger at the player, which...
And that, well, a lot of it's also like... I think there's also like a massive overall frustration with the Glazers because that came from our lack of investment in midfield. And then I think a lot of our frustrations with transfer policy, recruitment policy, then unfortunately got projected onto the players because people often brought up Maguire's price tag, but he didn't choose to go for 80 million. And that's, again, maybe a fault of recruitment. I know we could have got him the year earlier for cheaper. And I think just the overall frustration with the Glazers and how much the club was on the decline throughout the last decade. I think often as fans, rightly or wrongly, we're projecting those frustrations onto the players because a lot of the issues with players that we described were symptomatic of just everything going up above them. So, and that's probably credit to someone like Maguire who came to the club under a lot of scrutiny, but then also through a really chaotic time. All at the same time, there was COVID. He got the captaincy, had the Greece thing. There was the fallout of England losing the Euros, changing in management and system and everything, like all that happening at once, you can kind of understand it's very overwhelming for one person to have to handle. So yeah, again, got him for coming out through it.
Yeah, Dino's said one here, Mark Bosnich. Bozza's a funny one though. Like Bozza, even when Bozza was a young fella, he was getting into trouble, like selling stolen goods and stuff like that. But when he came back to United after Villa, it was he got injured. He ended up getting injured. I don't think there was much controversy around it. I think when he went to Chelsea, it more started up there. Like him and Coley obviously had some good times together and got into a fair bit of trouble with Fergie at times. But Yeah, geez, I'm glad social media wasn't around when Bozza was around, that's for sure. Dino makes a good point here too. For all the good Harry has done, I think this deal is down to Ineos not having to buy a centre back in the summer. Yeah, that could be a good point too. But you know what? I'm glad. I want him, for me, I want Harry in the team and I want Harry around the club purely because I've just got a feeling next season we're going to be bringing in a lot of these young players around, and I want these young kids to have players to look up to. And I think Harry's got a good head on him. I think he's going to lead them in the right direction. Same with Bruno as well. Look, I'm sure Bruno's going to move on, and I'm sure Harry's going to move on. But we do need players, ex-players like Fletcher and Carrick in the club, and the other boys that are coaching around the club, where the juniors need to come through and have players to look up to, because we haven't had that over probably the last 5 or 6 years, and we need that youth system to get back to what it was. Very strong. We're getting good results at the moment. Okay, I think our 21s lost last night, threw away the game. But apart from that, like we're getting great results in the 18s. I think the girls are doing really well. Yeah, we've got Johnny Evans on the bench. What do you call it? Yeah. I just think we need to get back to that core Manchester United. And I think Harry's good for that.
I think touching on Dino's point there, I don't see us buying a centre back. Not even because we kept Harry, but it's that we actually have a lot of centre backs. It's just that they either get injured or they don't have enough experience, and so keeping someone like Harry for, like, let's say, for Heaven to learn from and all that kind of stuff, like, that's quite good. Let's not forget we are going to play hopefully more than 40 games next season, so we will need the backup and all that kind of stuff as well. So I think we'll probably focus on the midfield and the probably right back kind of position. But yeah.
Oh, look, the midfield, we definitely need players in the midfield, especially with Casemiro likely to go. Ugarte's probably going as well. Xerxes probably on his way out as well. So we're just definitely going to have to overload that midfield, have players coming off the bench, and we need players to start getting fit. You know what I mean? Like, but there's so many players at the moment, and I don't know whether it's our fitness coach or whatever, but I know Michael Cleed Jr. is our fitness coach at Old Trafford and at Carrington. I don't know whether he's the issue, or it just seems a lot of teams these days, I mean, it's not just at our club, a lot of clubs these days are getting injuries. So
look at Arsenal, 11 players couldn't go out to the internationals.
Miraculously recovered for this morning, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just it's tough. Look, especially with Martinez. Okay, I think Martinez is in Ireland at the moment training, which is a massive positive coming into this Leeds game. De Ligt's, he's out for the season. Maguire will be right. No, Maguire's out for this game, isn't he? I think he's suspended for this game. So probably Heaven and Yoro will probably start this game against Leeds. Is it this weekend?
Yeah.
Yes.
This weekend, yeah. Monday, 7 a.m. kickoff, I think. 5 a.m.
Probably 5 now.
Yeah, 5 a.m. kickoff, yeah. Which is good for me because I don't start work till 7. So, but keeping going on with Harry, look, Harry's made some massive changes to his game, especially under Carrick. Like, under Carrick, I think he's just, they're feeding off each other, aren't they, with Michael Carrick? I think he's very good player manager, Carrick. I think he obviously knows how to get the best out of players, and it's done Harry a massive favour. I suppose it'd be interesting to see, but before De Ligt got injured, it was Harry Maguire and De Ligt both together, wasn't it? Before he got injured for a few games?
No. So the way it started initially was Harry and De Ligt, and then I think Harry was out, and it was Martinez.
Start of the season, we were playing 3 at the back as well.
And Euro and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's right. We haven't had Carrick for the whole season, have we? That's
at
right.
no
Harry
point-
probably started on the bench.
I think at no point yet we've had Martinez and De Ligt together, and you'd assume that would be the starting two if they ever fit, but they're never.
I think what's interesting, which we haven't really touched on, I haven't seen any dialogue in and around this topic on social media, and look, we could sort of argue this to the cows come home, and sort of both sides would be right. But the offering of the contract to Harry Maguire, does that tell us anything from the club in regards to next season's manager? Does that mean Michael Carrick wants Harry Maguire, so Michael Carrick's the manager? Is the next manager who might not like Harry Maguire going to be stuck with Harry Maguire? Is the next manager aware of this?
Extra deal. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, he's frozen.
I think it's Tom that's frozen. I'll keep going. Yeah, I agree. It's an interesting one, that. Like Tom's saying. Yeah, is that you just froze for a sec? Yeah, you just froze for a sec. Go, continue, Tom.
Yeah. Did you get the gist of what I was saying? Just in regards to
it's a great point. If
a new manager comes in, are they aware that they're going to be stuck with Harry Maguire? And I just think maybe they love Harry Maguire. Maybe it's Luis Enrique. Let's say it's him. Maybe he loves Harry Maguire. Maybe he hates him. Who knows? And I just think at the moment it's good news. This extension in 6 months' time, is it going to look like a catastrophic mistake? I'm not sure.
But that's why it's good that it's a 1 year. That's the way we should handle it. I think anyone who's, he's what, 33, 34? Like
he's 33 this year.
Yeah, so it's the right approach to it.
Yeah, look, I think, again, for me, he's had that pay cut as well. What's it, £150,000 he's on now a week, which is still a fair bit, isn't it? Like, far out, man.
It would do.
It's not really that much of a pay cut, is it? 40, yeah. Far out. I was just about to say, even though he's at the club, it wouldn't be bad if he's just there for the junior players and stuff. He's still getting paid a nice hand, isn't he? Really. But you know what? Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. I think Carrick's in after that signing. But then Dino's come out here and he goes, managers don't choose the players. It's Wilcock and Pavel. After Wilcock saying he thinks he's a manager, so that wouldn't surprise you either. But I don't know. We needed something feel good. We needed a feel good thing. We haven't played for 3 weeks, and you know what? I'm not going to deny Harry Maguire a 1 year extension, a 1 year contract and an extension. I think I'd have problems if they extended it. I think we need to move on from Harry after next season for sure. I don't think it needs to go into the 2028-29 season or whatever it will be, 27-28 season. I don't think we need to do that. I think we give him the year. It's like a bonus. He's played, how many years is that? What's it, 2019-20 he signed? 8 years. 8 years. So he'll be just short of a testimonial. Sort of, it's funny, like you think about 8 years. Beck's only played for us for 8 years. 8-9 years. So it's, when you think of it like that, it's crazy.
Well, we still got Luke Shaw. It's been 12 years.
Luke Shaw, 12 years. Oh, yeah, 12 years, and Bruno Fernandes has played more games than him.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Dino's coming out with some good statements. If he wasn't English, we don't re-sign him, as we need English players.
I don't think so. I think it's actually more based on his leadership. I think it's actually more based on we need somebody who's a senior in that back line, with the fact that our 3 senior ones, 2 of them are legit almost always injured. And then the 2 that are not seniors, they need help.
I think there's a bit of truth there. It depends which way you look at it. Sorry to interrupt, Adam, but just on Dino's point
you're right, yeah.
Just obviously when we think of English players, our argument initially sort of goes to homegrown players. We need to sort of reach that quota. I don't think it's so much that. Obviously, that does play a part for sort of when you are building a squad. And it's not to be like a xenophobic sort of discussion, but Manchester United do need an English core. It's an English football club. You do need that English core. And I do think that is an important part of Manchester United. You go back and look at any successful Manchester United team, obviously there's been a strong spine of English players or British players in there. And I just think that is a part of Manchester United. So you're right. If it was a French defender who's had an up and down career, maybe he sort of slides out the back door. That same career with Harry Maguire, you probably rewarded. And is that right? Is it wrong? Who knows? But I do think with Manchester United, it probably is right.
I definitely want the English players in there, Tom. Oh, look, that was probably one of the things that probably brainwashed me into Manchester United. My uncle that got me into him, he used to talk about it all the time. He hated when European-based players came in, and he hated the more and more players that we got into from Europe. He loved the players, but he just thought those European players were now taking over the league that he loved and cherished. And I'm all for the English player coming in and out. Like, you need, for me, I'd be disappointed if United never had at least 5 English-based players in the team at all times. So, yeah, I'm all for that. So I've got a question here from Welcome. I'm going to call you X, all right? Welcome to the pod. I haven't seen you on before. So what you guys think? Can Carrick handle the pressure of Champions League season or other competitions? Because right now he's only managed one week a match, but next year he has to manage 2 matches a week. Yeah, for me, I think he's got a good coaching staff. I think he's got good coaching staff. His assistant's really good. He's very experienced. And you know what? Man management sometimes is the key to a good side. And Carrick's very good at that by the looks of things. Good at man management. And then he lets his other the rest of his team do the work off the pitch, get the team organised and everything like that. You know what? It's all about the dressing room at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think as well, what's probably will help with the multitude of games is if we can get a big enough squad as well, because it's evident that the probably squad is a bit too small and maybe not as fit to handle if we have to do like 2 games in a week. So I think just increasing a bit of fitness and obviously having a deeper squad with more options, that's probably going to help him handle it. And I think as well, like it's a pretty good effort. I know it's a different scenario, but it's still a good effort to come in halfway through a season and have to take over a club that was in a bit of turmoil or crisis, dare I say. So I know obviously it's going to be different when you have to manage Champions League against these big teams like Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Madrid, etc. But he's already proven he can at least take on one big challenge. I don't see. I'm not saying he will, but I don't see why he can't, because he's demonstrated that he's got at least the ability to take on one challenge in front of him.
I think whenever you see an inexperienced manager who hasn't done that, who hasn't managed it in Europe, sort of thing, we initially go, no, doesn't have the experience, can't do it. Well, so we don't know. Maybe he's woeful at it. Maybe he's absolutely brilliant at it. Was anyone having questions about Zinedine Zidane when he took over Real Madrid? Could he do 2 games a week? Obviously, he could. Obviously, if he failed it, we would say he wouldn't. So Michael Carrick might not be able to deal with that pressure, or he might be able to. It's just the nature of the beast in sport. You don't know until we see it. So he's going to have to be given that opportunity if he's the new manager. And look, the evidence and my guess, I think he will probably be all right. Especially a player and manager is different. We can really only go by him and our perception of him as a player. Will that sort of translate? And it never does translate that smoothly. But it's the evidence we have to go by. His time at Manchester United as a player in regards to how he'll sort of progress long term. And the evidence or the perception I have of Michael Carrick says he should be okay in regards to that challenge.
I think sometimes go on. Go, mate.
You go.
I was just going to say, sometimes it comes down to, and I've said it often as well about the Champions League and how we're going to get around it and stuff like that. But I think sometimes it comes down to this big club mentality, and everyone thinks, because how's Carrick going to learn if he doesn't say have a top 6 club? Well, it looks like we're probably going to get 6 teams into Europe next year. Okay, so into the Champions League after Arsenal winning this morning. How's he going to get that opportunity to learn in Europe if he doesn't have great support? You know what I mean? So as a fan, I think we need to back him. And like I said, I think it's just the media getting on the back of, and the fans also, like, it is concerning. You've got a manager that's relatively inexperienced. He's going into Champions League next year. We don't know. We like to think that we know what's going to happen, but we actually don't. We've tried. We've had big managers before. Like I said, I'm happy with Carrick just managing the players, and then his coaching staff behind him worrying about everything else.
There's something about centre mids that become managers. They just get it,
Yeah,
we'll be right.
We'll be, we'll be right, of course. I've got a couple of comments here. Where are we? Dino's got 3 in a row here. You have to have a certain number of homegrown in the squad. Not sure the number, but you have to have at least a certain number. Tom might know the number.
It used to be 8. It used to be 8, but I'm not sure what defines a squad now. A squad used to be, I think, 25 or 26. I'm not sure if that's changed and if that has changed that. But obviously there's so many different intricacies in regards to it. There's 8, but then you don't have to register players under 18. But they're always part of the squad. So players like a couple of years ago, Kobe Mainu wouldn't have been on the list, sort of thing. So it does become a little bit of a juggling act for some clubs. But I don't think Manchester would ever be in a position where that becomes an issue, because even Lenny Yoro, probably in a year or two, he might be homegrown, like in regards to the technicalities in the rules sort of thing. So I don't think the big clubs never really seem to come in or face too many challenges when it comes to that. But I think it's 8, or it definitely was.
Tom, mate, again, Dino here. Company is doing okay in Europe after relegating Burnley, and he put straight into the deep end. I mean, again, like where he's managing, they got plenty of money. They back their squad. They got a really good squad. It's a strong squad. But Vincent Kompany, he looks like he's a very good man manager. You know what I mean? Players want to play for him, and that's a big issue. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with Carrick moving on for Manchester United. I really do. As long as he gets the support from our board, which we all like to see. Here's a controversial one. Did Fergie's success in Europe? Yes, we won 2, but we effed a lot of games up in Europe. But that one's a tough one, because in the 90s, I'll tell you the rule in the 90s, you're only allowed a certain amount of European players playing in the 90s. So half our squad was out just about. Like, I still remember Cantona used to miss out on games. Schmeichel used to miss out on games. Kanchelskis as well. Like, I remember we used to get to semi-finals, and by the time we got to the semi-finals, we weren't allowed to play players. And it was so frustrating for these players.
Irish players we viewed as sort of non-homegrown and non-English. So it was like Dennis Earl, Roy Keane.
And twice we ran into what is probably the greatest team that ever played football, like club football.
Yeah.
A Barcelona team. So, we
but then we were allowed our European players. That I think all that went out probably, 1997, 98.
Yeah.
I think it was after Cantona left. It was probably 98 it went out. So
and as well, during that time as well, like English football wasn't like, you didn't have like the last 5-10 years we've got 4 or 5 English teams that are dominating. We were really the only dominant team, whereas like you had obviously the 2 Spanish giants, Italy, that was the best. So like at the time we were kind of in Europe more so the underdogs. They were just far better teams throughout the majority of the 90s.
I think
obviously up until the treble.
Yeah, well, until that treble, before that treble, and obviously 1 or 2 seasons after it as well, you do hear the players talk, and Strelix as well, just in regards to, I wouldn't say they said they failed, but just that regret of we're so close, or 1 or 2 semi-finals, Leverkusen, Dortmund, Monaco sort of thing. I just think there was just that frustration. But you go back and look at Manchester, the pride of all Europe, and we are very proud of our European history, obviously, and we're very proud of our 3 European Cups. It's 3 European Cups. We don't win it often. Yeah. I just think, are we a little bit too big-headed? Think we should have more. But obviously, if Munich didn't happen, the money is on Manchester. I probably would have won a few more in that era. But Ferguson won 2 of them. And I'm just thinking, it does. You could make a case that we fell short, and maybe we should have do a little bit more in Europe. But ultimately, we don't often win the European Cup. So maybe
last season.
To be fair as well, To be fair as well, Pep, 10 years at City, all the money in the world, amazing squad.
Yeah,
only won it once. And how many muck-ups has he made? Like in Spurs, Lyon, Madrid a couple of times. And like obviously he's won a treble and he's won, with City, so he's done what he's had to do. But considering the resources he's had and how good his City side have been, only one European Cup, and again with the mistakes he's made, you often think to yourself, it's kind of the same thing. Like winning a Champions, like Madrid make it look easy, but maybe if you're not Madrid, like Barca haven't won it in 11 years. So it's not easy. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to win.
Let's not forget Fergie's the last person to beat Real Madrid in a European final, right? With
Exactly.
Aberdeen. Like, just saying.
Yeah, way back when.
But I think he's the last manager to break Celtic and Rangers, and it looks like it could potentially happen this year. But he was
Is
the
it
last
Hart?
one to do it.
That's
I think
going.
Hart's
Yeah,
up
Hart's
there
up,
this
I think.
year.
Yeah, like exactly the last person to break the old firm. So these
But
things
I
are hard.
think-
Yeah, just
I'm not sure the name of it, but the documentary on Amazon came out a year or two ago, in and around the treble. It was a 3-part series, and I remember watching that and had Sir Alex talk and had sort of players in that treble team talking, and it really got me sort of reminiscing and sort of remembering and sort of the core values of Manchester United in terms of sort of progressing into Europe and the Munich disaster, and then Manchester United going on Cup Winners' Cup and the treble. That is the holy grail, the Champions League. And there is almost a part, the way Sir Alex was talking about the importance of it, it was kind of, he did almost allude to that, what Alex and Johnny was saying, that if you don't win the European Cup, he didn't say it's a failure, but he kind of alluded to it to be to be matched with 68 or treble or the great, who I think is the best team we've seen 2008. I just think they all won the European Cup. So we might have a Premier League winning team next year. That's fantastic. To be regarded in those three teams, the treble winning team 68 and 2008, you have to win the European Cup in terms of being a truly great Manchester United team. And I just think, yeah, it just shows where the ambition should be. When Man United are flying and at our best, even though we've only won 3, the godfather of the club, in my opinion, regards to Sir Alex, does sort of hold the European Cup as the benchmark.
Yeah, you look at our wins in Europe, like in Champions League, well, European Cup and then Champions League. The one in 68, we had to go to extra time. The 99, we won 2-1 in the last dying minute. And then the, 2008 went to a penalty shootout. So we never do it easy. We never, ever do it easy in these games. And it's just, I suppose that's part of the love for this club. Every last-minute winner, getting excited in extra time and being on the edge of your seat when it comes to penalties and things like that.
Well, speaking of Sir Alex, we always go back and it sort of pops up on my timeline every couple of months, but his speech after Swansea when he retired in 2012, 2013, we do remember the speech and sort of famous sort of last words in terms of back David Moyes. But one of the things he's saying, like all these great things that make up the club, a huge thing that makes up the club are the losses. He said that's an important part of this. That's a beautiful part of this club, the losses and the defeats. And it doesn't feel like that when they do come about, but they are important.
I think we've got I think Manchester United's got the club, the cup record for the amount of losses we've had in England for League Cup, FA Cup, and then we've also got the record for the amount we've won as well. So it's crazy. If you go back to the 70s were in, I think, 3 cup finals and we ended up winning 1. Same with the 80s. We won 2. I think we were in 4, maybe. And it was the same in the 60s. In the 60s, we won, I think, maybe 2 FA Cups and the European Cup, and we won the league twice as well. So, yeah, we've certainly been up and down through the years. 58, we had the tragic accident, and then we went into a cup final there in the FA Cup final. We lost, I think it was 2-1. You know, so, mate, this is why I love this club, through the history and everything like that. Anyway, let's move on from that. Let's get on to Scholesy and Nicky Butt having a say. They want to have their keeps and sells. There's a little bit of, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you boys would have had a good look at this. But for mine, when I was watching this, Paul Scholes, honest to God, sometimes when I listen to him, we all do it as well. We say things and then we look at it a couple of minutes later and you go, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or we go back and apologize. These guys sometimes, honest to God, man, I look at their list and I listen to their list. Just have a look at that list, boys. And where do you think that? Look, for me, Lenny Euro and Patrick Dorgu, there's no way in the world I'm selling those 2 players. And to put the context on their sell was all about players that are injured. That's it. So if you have a look in the keep, Mateus Delit's been injured the whole season. Lissandro Martinez has been injured twice this season. Xerxes been injured. Ugarte. Casemiro, I think, may have had 1 or 2 games out. Luke Shaw has best season he's ever had. Mason Mount, same thing. Lenny Euro's been pretty good. Dorgu, yes, he's been injured. He goes, but then the one that gets me is Mazraoui. The Mazraoui, I think he may have missed 2 games. And his sell was based on him being injured and not playing. Now, for me, I like Mazraoui because he's a bit of a John O'Shea player. He can play anywhere. You know what I mean? Give us your thoughts on this.
I'm actually, so I guess it depends on what the goal is. If the goal is you're not going to win the league with those players next year, then maybe I can kind of see it. But that's also not players like Dorgu and Euro, for example. They're not here just for next year. They're here for the future. And they're players who I can see being really, really good. Like we saw Dorgu in the 5 games before he got injured, and he was an absolute baller. And Euro is still only 19. Why would I sell someone who's 19, who's still growing into his body, who the potential is definitely there, who we can see is learning as he's going as well? So I definitely disagree about those two. But I think if you're saying, I want to win the league next year, I can understand why they have the list that they do. Although I would still keep Mazurai because, again, similar to what you say, he's actually jack of all trades kind of thing. And he's really defensively sound, which sometimes we definitely need because Dallow's not quite as defensive as Maz is.
But the one that got me with Diego Dalot is they said he's a good bench player. So
I like Dallo, so I'm not going to
He's a starting right back.
And I know you hate Dallo, Adam. With the passion.
Johnny, I don't hate him.
I've seen.
What I hate about him is he never seems to learn from his mistakes. That's what I
get the playing as a wing back when he's not a wing back, and he was playing on the left for most of this, half of the last.
Mate, you have a look how many times Ahmed saved his ass this season. His jockeying is horrific, man.
As a defender,
and
when
that's
he actually
a basic
gets
skill.
The ball where it should be, I think he's fine.
I want to get rid of him.
You can't have that. You can't have that for a little part of the game. It's got to be on all the time.
Some of the logic that they've got on this list is, obviously, I mean, for starters, Maguire, we're obviously keeping him, so there's that. But I guess it's one of these things, because they got it's almost a 50-50 with keeping and selling, and you obviously have to get rid of some dead wood, but you can't just get rid of everyone at once because it causes too much instability, and we have to know that we're going to get players to replace. I know where Casemiro is going anyway, that's been confirmed, so it's not even a matter of selling, it's just your contract's running out, so goodbye. So it's one of those. And then Ugarte, I'm not a fan. I thought he'd be good, but it's evident there's a reason why PSG got rid of him. But again, to lose our 2 defensive or ball-winning midfielders, unless we know that we're going to get Wharton, Anderson, Tonali, someone to play there alongside Mainu, or a couple of players, especially if we anticipate to be playing in Europe next season. You don't want to be getting rid of too many players. Even Xerxes, I'm not sold on Xerxes necessarily, but he's our only somewhat sort of other striker besides Sesko. You want to just keep some players just for the sake of depth and not get rid of everyone immediately, unless we know again we're gonna have players lined up. Like I said, I want to get rid of Ugarte if we're not going to have defensive midfielders lined up to get, because I think we need to buy at least 2. Xerxes again, I wouldn't mind keeping him unless I know we're going to get number 9 to play alongside Sesko. You obviously don't want to get rid of Yoro and Dorgu. That's self-explanatory. And the only ones really I'd want to get rid of in that list would be Casemiro, Mount, and Shaw. I think they're the ones that are just they're the ones that we definitely have to move on from for me. I think they're just being a bit too liberal with the selling, so to speak.
For mine, in the sell side, Joshua Xerxes, I don't, doesn't bother me if he gets sold, because I'd like to see him progress Cheeto Obi into the side. I'd like to see him bring him up into the team, and I'd like him to push Sesko. You know what I mean? So for me, the sell, this out of the sell side, obviously Maguire's staying, but the top four, Luke Shaw, it's a World Cup year. So like everyone always talks about Luke Shaw always playing well in a World Cup year. You never know what you're going to get out of Luke Shaw, do you? So I don't know. He's nearly 12 years on now. You got to start looking to move him on now, I think. But the bottom four, I don't have a problem with. Tom?
I think these lists are always, whether we do them here or Club Legends and Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes do them, they will always prove someone to be a hypocrite, and they'll contradict themselves within the space of 30 seconds. That these lists, a couple of weeks ago when we played Man City, Michael Carrick's first game, I was saying, yeah, Luke Shaw should be a part of Manchester United's future. Now, if someone puts him in sell, a couple of weeks later, I'm probably thinking, yeah, you're probably right. In regards to, I will sort of flip and flop in regards to my opinions on some of these players, but I think so much of it, which Alex said there, is in regards to it's not a black and white answer for any situation. I could very well make a case, in my opinion, I want to see Amad Diallo sold. However, there's another case where I think he'd be the last player you'd sell. Like, who are we bringing in? Matthias de Ligt. Okay, I'll keep him, but are we bringing in a centre-back, and is Matthias de Ligt going to be injured next season? Let's say Patrick Dorgu. Obviously, he's flavour of the month. Everyone loves him. I'm in a very small minority. I'm fully aware of that. I don't sit with Patrick Dorgu. I think he's extremely limited. Now, replay that goal against Arsenal as much as you can. Give him a statue and player of or goal of the season. What an unbelievable strike. But if someone wanted to sell Patrick Dorgu quality-wise, I wouldn't argue. However, is Luke Shaw going to be injured next season? Who's at left back? Are we playing with a winger? We need a backup left winger, and that'll be Patrick Dorgu. I don't question his professionalism. So if those situations arise, I need Patrick Dorgu. He's going to be an important player for Manchester United. So I just think every one of these players, obviously there's a handful. Obviously no one's selling Sen Lamens or Kobe Mainoo or Bruno Fernandes. But even you could argue Bruno Fernandes, how much money are you going to get for Bruno Fernandes? If you sell him, does that potentially influence your decision? So whenever I see these lists, I look at them and think, yeah, I agree completely. And I also disagree completely. Without the context, they're so tricky to do. But they do throw up a lot of sort of debate. In regards to the sell, the ones which I would completely agree with, I think Joshua Zirkzee, Manuel Ugarte, and Mason Mount. And I like Mason Mount as a player, but I just forget the player plays for Manchester United. So I won't lose any sleep if he's to leave. Everyone else there, look, you could definitely make a case. I agree with Mazraoui is a hell of a squad play. If he's happy to stay, you definitely be keeping Mazraoui. Obviously, he's going to have something to say if he wants a little bit more consistent football. But other than that, on the keep list, I would keep those players if I could get money for Amad Diallo. Yeah, just me personally, I'll be happy to potentially move him on, but I'm not going to lose any sleepy fees to stay. And Matthias de Ligt and Lisandro Martinez, obviously, in crystal ball, are they fit next season? He's going to influence your feeling towards them, but it's always a discussion which we always have this time of year, and doesn't leave any shortage of topics.
I would sell Diallo if we could get someone like Olise. That's what I would. But that's pretty much the only way I would sell Diallo is if I can get someone who's in Olise.
Hate to break it to you.
I'm not saying Olise, but someone on his level. Like you could see Olise's level when he was at Palace, and you knew he could be good. Bayern took the risk. Other teams apparently wanted him as well.
That's the context, though. Like another context, does Brian Mbeumo score 25 goals, or does he score 5 goals? If he scores 5 goals, I want Amad Diallo. If Brian Mbeumo is scoring 25 goals, I don't need Amad Diallo. Can that be someone else? Can we look at a different profile of player? So, look, I agree with everyone's thoughts there in regards to, the flip of a coin with a lot of players.
Yeah. I'm just going to finish up. We're nearly an hour in now, so I think Dino has been on the drink today, so he's going to cop another find here because he's mentioned Chris Wood again. Chris Wood to replace Zirkzee.
We don't need Chris Wood when we have Harry Maguire playing striker. All right.
Shaw as a centre back.
9 in the back four. It's too small.
Why didn't they put Onana in their list?
I reckon they forgot.
You're right, mate.
Yeah,
he probably
he's
forgot.
loaned, isn't he? He's loaned, isn't he? Yeah, God.
He wants to revitalise his career. Fuck, mate. If I
good luck. Apparently, he's not doing well in Turkey either.
No, he's horrible. And And Rashford, he said. He's just written and Rashford.
That's an interesting one. Rashford is the interesting one. Really.
Yeah. He
I
says,
think Rashford probably
does
will
the
get.
I'll just read this one.
I think
Does
Rashford will-
De Ligt go to a World Cup with Holland, even though he hasn't been playing? That's a very interesting one there. Yeah,
Probably not.
and he's written here, and Rashford. Rashford's an interesting one, man.
I think we sell him. I think the only reason I say is obviously I've loved the 10 years or 9 years he gave us, but last couple of years were a hard time for him and he's found a good lease of life at Barca. If we can cop 30, 40 odd for him, and he's obviously enjoying Barca, playing well there, seems to like it. They like him. Just, he's an academy player, gave us a decade, a couple of trophies, and we get some money back for him. Why not? Because we're going to start moving on from some players, and we've historically struggled to sell. If we can get some money for him,
you want a reason as to why not? So I've got 3 reasons.
Oh, is that a phrase?
Reasons why not to sell Rashford. So number 1, I think from what I heard, Barca only wants to pay like 26 million.
26 mil.
Yeah,
that's a joke.
Number 2, we actually at the moment really don't have a proper left attacking winger kind of player. We just don't have one. The closest is Dorgu, and again, as Tom was saying, in my opinion, he's still raw and everything. I see potential. Tom maybe doesn't, but he's raw. He's not where you need him to be. And then number 3, we have Carrick now. I feel like it would be very different to what it was like when it was Erik ten Hag. So that's 3 reasons why to keep him.
His best season was on Ten Hag though.
I'm 50-50, but
I've trust issue with him. I just think if we can get a decent fee for him, just move forward, especially because he's approaching 29 soon. I think this year, next year. Just get some cash, and I think better for him than us.
Win the Premier League.
Well, I don't want to give him away though. I think
not give him. No, I'm saying
that's the problem.
Get a fee.
I'd rather.
How much does he have left on his contract? How many years? Because that depends as well.
He's got 1 year. I think he's got 1 out of his 5. I think he's got. Yeah.
But wouldn't it be nice to win the Premier League and Rashford be one of those players?
It would.
Oh mate, I would love that, but I just don't think he's okay for the squad, and I don't want that in the dressing room. That's my problem with it. I love it.
Look, I think all 3 of you there said it's interested in regards to that keep sell debate and bring Marcus Rashford. I don't think it's interested at all. He's not a Manchester United player next season. I do not see it. No, I don't see a scenario.
But I'm just
don't see a scenario. I think it's interesting in regards to how a deal structures itself. Does he get loaned out again? Do we get 10 million? Do we get 30 million? That's obviously an interesting part. But Adam's right. I agree there. Forget the player. Yoni, you're right in regards to maybe you could do with a left winger who sort of has that profile, a footballer on the left wing. I've gone past the debate. Well, I've gone past the view of Marcus Rashford as a footballer. I'm not. Yeah. Okay. His quality as a player, you might argue, would benefit Manchester United next season. I don't care about the player. It's what Adam said there in regards to the unfortunate baggage that Marcus Rashford brings.
Yeah.
Well, my whole thing was it'd be interesting if the same baggage would exist if Carrick is there, because we've seen Carrick as a man manager is very good, but again, I like the idea of keeping him because it means we're not spending money on a left winger and we can focus on other things.
We've got Cunha though. Cunha's been playing there.
He's not a left winger.
Problem is,
but he's still been playing well there. But I don't actually see how he plays any different to Rashford, because he actually takes on players 1v1. He's actually probably a little bit more skillful than Rashford. He probably hasn't got the and he's just Cunha does show a good acceleration, but he's probably not as quick as Rashford. But you know what? He uses his Brazilian flair to beat that player 1v1. He's doing it regularly as well.
Yeah,
the other thing as well with Rashford is if Rashford's got 1 year left, say we give him maybe another 2-3 years, take him till he's about 32, 33. What money do we then have to pay him to keep him? Because right now he's on a boatload, 300 plus. You've just mentioned, we don't have to buy another winger, but we could just spend the same money just keeping Rashford, which is again maybe not the wisest decision to give him a big contract.
His contract will go up at Manchester United. Well, with Champions League football, just naturally when he returns, he'll get a 20% increase. But it's obviously down this season. I'm not entirely sure of the structure, who's paying him, Manchester United or Barcelona, or what percentage. I can't even believe 20 seconds ago, I wasn't even entertaining a scenario where Marcus Rashford is a Manchester United player next season, but I'll entertain it for the purposes of this discussion. But I'll just look at it and think, we talked about Harry Maguire and adversity and coming back through challenges. The reception Marcus Rashford will get at Old Trafford would not be a pretty one. And I just imagine a scenario where that happens. And if we're talking about redemption arcs and sort of thing coming back, if it's not happening, but if he was to come back and deal with all the shitstorm that's coming his way and then perform, well, okay, he's on par with the Harry Maguire redemption.
It's sort of a situation where I'll get to some of these comments as well. Situation where Garnacho, like you bring him back Garnacho, he scores a couple of goals, and next minute you just don't want
goals change everything.
Yeah, that's it. I've got Dino in here. No one wants him though. Remember his dream was Barcelona. Might as well bring Greenwood back if we are worrying about Carrick as a good man manager. I would like that. You know that, Dean. I would like that.
Yeah, I know you would.
I would. I like Greenwood. This is actually pluck off his move from TikTok over to here. Yanni Rashford don't run for the shirt or the badge. Last one here. Rashford's number one quality was speed, and that is gone. Yep. And Dino watches a fair bit of Barca, so yeah. Tom knows I love Rashford, and for me to say I don't want him anywhere near the club and anywhere near our dressing room anymore. I don't want our young players anywhere near him. I'd rather have this man, Bruno, there. I'd rather have Harry there and watch these. I think next year we're going to see a lot of our young blokes progress into the first side. Just because I think Ineos and that don't want to spend too much money, they'll probably bring 2, maybe 3 players and I just think these young blokes are going to, a new era is going to be changing for United.
So we'll play more youngsters. I think we really struggled by the fact that we didn't have all those games.
Yeah. And last comment, I have turned Adam against Rashford. My job is done. Yeah, but good point. Last one, Shea Lacey. Mate, I can't wait to see that kid come back. So he really got everyone excited. Yeah. So, sorry?
He's fun. He's fun to watch.
Bloody this internet. Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is. All right, boys, before my internet freezes again or someone's internet freezes again, thank you for coming on. Thank you, Yanni. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Alex. And Yanni told me you want to come on more, Alex, because he keeps failing to tell me. So I'll definitely keeps forgetting to tell me. So I'll definitely put you on the list there for sure. Thank you, everyone on Worldwide Reds on TikTok as well. Thank you for the gifts that you gave us tonight. Pluck off. Good to see you again. Dino, as usual, one of our top guys that always comes on, and everyone else that's there. We had a fair few on the channel today. If you haven't liked the channel yet, go and like it or subscribe, whatever you want to do with us. We're here for a bit of fun. We love talking United, and we love getting together. So I'll talk to you later. See you later. Check yous.
Cantona, Gary Neville looking for his first goal for Manchester United, and what a time to get it!